these tools are going to be far deeper with the marketing automation capabilities than your customer insights product.
There's no doubt there is some sort of, functionality from a marketing automation standpoint with the Journeys product specifically. But I think the point you're trying to make is how deep is that compared to something like ActiveCampaign, let's say.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have one of the solutions from the CRM portfolio. We have reviewed some of the CRM solutions. So now we are sort of back to that. We have reviewed a lot of ACM supply chain for this year. This is going to be the CRM suite bucket. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my quick intro. Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP CRM digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, I am going to move to Andy for his intro.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. This is my name is Andy Pratico. I've been involved in ERP software for manufacturers, small to mid-sized manufacturers, basically all my life. I lived in the U.S. for 11 years, so I know what it's like to say project and not project. Right, Dave? See, I'm bilingual. I can speak American and Canadian. Anyways, I've been working with the ERP software for manufacturers for a long time, and I actually teach people how to uncover the truth about ERP systems before they buy. In fact, I have a webinar coming up on August 13th. Anyone who wants to attend, I think it's 9 o'clock Pacific, so 12 o'clock Eastern. But that's thank you very much, Sam.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and do join Andy's webinar. They are super informative. And on that note, Dave, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. Thanks, Sam. And I agree with you. Anybody that hasn't been to one of Andy's webinars, it's super informative, and you definitely get some good takeaways out of there. My name is Dave Chrysler.
Hey, Dave, just one thing.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, if anybody attends one of my webinars, the worst case is I'll make them laugh.
That you will. I second that. Yes, I second that. My name is Dave Chrysler. I own an operations consulting business. So we are working with leaders in manufacturing to help them optimize their operations and enhance profitability, cash flow, company culture. So thanks for having me on, Sam.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Dave. And if you're in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions, comments, stories. We generally utilize them as part of our review. So looking forward to reviewing them. On that note, guys, I'm going to start with the quick briefing of this solution. So I'll move to the first slide. So overall, I guess, one of the differences that we generally touch on whenever we are reviewing any sort of solutions is going to be the difference between CRM suite as well as ERP suite. And there's a lot of confusion about what is a CRM? Do you really need a CRM? Everybody has. Andy, you have a comment?
I was going to say confusion, yes, but I would say overlap.
Yes, overlap as well. So that's what, we are going to touch on this from many different lenses in terms of why CRM matters. When other companies define CRM, what they care for, and from the overlap perspective, is there going to be overlap? And from the industry perspective as well, the needs are going to be very different. In some industries, the CRM plays much broader role. In general, in some industries, you are going to need the ERP integrated processes. So we are going to be touching from many different lenses. So number one thing overall, I guess, let's review the journey of CRM. So traditionally, for the most part, 90% of the CRM solutions were sort of baked as part of the ERP solution. They were sort of the business solution. Or maybe going back when transactional processing power was not as high. At that time, I mean, you had accounting that was slightly siloed. Then you had manufacturing that was siloed, and then you had sales and marketing, that was fairly siloed as well. Okay, but then came the integration. Then they started integrating pretty much everything. So then you did not really have a place for the real CRM, and that's what started changing when Salesforce, roughly what 1999, I guess they started the whole CRM game. Before that, also there were a lot of different CRM solutions, but everybody sort of had different versions for how they defined CRM. So one thing that Salesforce or Salesforce-like systems did is they flattened the data model. And that was the underlying premise for the CRM, because they wanted to create slightly more disconnected state. And the reason why disconnected state matters is because they wanted to make sure that sales and marketing is moving faster. And that was the, for example, let's say if you go to traditional accounting systems, and Dave, I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, right? So the whole idea of standard accounting, costing process was that, you know what, business people, they are never going to understand accounting. So let me give you a price list. You guys go ahead and sell, and then I, as the accountant, I can figure out, how to account that, and create books. So that was the overarching premise of any of the standard costing system, standard accounting system. And this was the similar philosophy behind the majority of the CRM systems. The overarching idea was, hey, sales and marketing should move fast. Okay, and sales and marketing, as soon as you close that deal, whatever happens after that is probably going to be easy. To some extent, that's true as well. So that is the overarching idea of CRM systems. But now, when you get into the whole MRP, centric processes, or you look for, for example, let's say omni-channel experience, right? Whenever you are going to have some sort of inventory overlap across your processes, and that includes in your sales processes as well. And when I say sales, this is going to be slightly more downstream sales operations. That's where this whole embeddedness matters, not necessarily in the upstream marketing flows, pre-sales flows. In fact, if you go back to, let's say, I don't know, Dave, when the whole idea of this content marketing, digital marketing, pre-sales started, back in, I don't know, maybe 1990, 2000, I think the large majority of the businesses, they were driven by trade shows, I guess. Meaning you have an order, you process the order, you ship, you make money, everybody's happy, right? But you didn't have the real pre-sales workflow. And generally the pre-sales workflow became very, 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 very thick in last 20, 30 years. And that's why the role of CRM became far more important in general. Okay, so now CRM is bucketed into many, many different buckets and perspective. So one is going to be your upstream marketing, as well as your downstream marketing. When you say upstream marketing, that is going to be everything that happens before closing that sales order is probably upstream marketing, which is going to be anything that is happening in the world of marketing. And the marketing is not going to be involved until somebody closes an order. Anything and everything that happens before that is probably going to be your upstream marketing. So a lot of CRM systems, for example, let's say if you look at HubSpot, they don't even care, what happens after closing the order. They don't even call that as part of the CRM, but that is just I would say, 50% of the CRM. Yes, the omni-channel traceability matters. Yes, the CMS integration matters. Yes, anything that happens in the content world matters. But for some companies, the state of CRM is going to be equally relevant for that downstream component as well. And those are going to be the real customer experience transactions, where you are literally mapping the workflows of these different channels. And that has nothing to do with the ERP workflows. ERP workflows are going to be slightly more fulfillment centric. They are going to be slightly more operational centric. The whole idea of these customer experience transactions is going to be to map the workflows of many different channels that you might have. In some industries, you might have up to 10, 15, 20 different channels that you are catering, and just in their sales process they are going to have very complicated workflows and approval process. All of that is going to be scope of the CRM. So I don't know, I'm going to pause there. Guys, do you guys have any comments?
Yeah, Sam, I think my only comment is one that I make all the time, and I think we all joke about, but just with what you unpacked, if that doesn't hammer the point home of understanding what the process flows are, what the anticipated output is, what do we need to do with the series of transactions we're about to generate, right? Like, I don't know what else does, because what you just unpacked is for every specific industry, for every specific type of scenario that unfolds from an operations standpoint, right? Like supply chain, call it supply chain if you want, right? End to end. All of those things are different. All of those touch points are different. And we generally use this terminology completely interchangeably,
Yep.
which messes everybody up even more, right? So I think, like, I know we kind of joke about it and we always talk about it, but that what you just unpacked, again, for people, if you're in this process, please, please, please document your process, understand what we're trying to do before you pick the tool. The tool is only there to execute the process. And I just see it too many times. It drives me crazy.
I completely agree with you, Dave. I'm going to go one step farther because, documenting your requirements, knowing exactly what your expectations are is critical. However, once you've documented, then people sit through these things called sales demos and they go, oh, it does everything I want.
Yeah.
And they don't have a clue. So it's going one step farther. The fact is that sales demos last a couple hours usually.
Yeah.
Learning an ERP or a CRM takes months, if not years. So you learn nothing in the demo. So you want to learn from people that already know the truth. So talk to companies that are using these CRM systems and see if they are meeting the same needs you expect them to meet. Then you uncover the truth.
Yeah, could not agree more. I think Andy, great points. And doing this for roughly 20 years now, I get equally confused sitting in those demos.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, sales demos, you might as well call them sales pitches, right?
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah, could not agree more. All right, guys, I'll keep moving here. So a couple of more lenses overall from the CRM perspective that we need to touch on before we dig into the Microsoft in terms of where their offering stands. And there are many different approaches in the market. Each of the vendors taking slightly different approach. So one of the bucket that we want to touch on is going to be the whole Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Customer Service Cloud. These are three different pillars that you are going to commonly find with the large majority of the CRM systems. Microsoft is taking it one step further, but they do it slightly differently. Okay, so overall, I guess when you look at the CRM bucket, one of the things that you need to look at is the whole data isolation, data decoupling, and that's how the CRM bucket is designed. So, for example, let's say if you look at the Salesforce or HubSpot, they are really trying to isolate the whole CRM data model, compared to your other operational model that you might have in the architecture. That's how they are sort of flattening it. Now, when it comes to Microsoft is taking slightly different approach. Okay, so this particular solution used to be called customer engagement, and they have renamed this a couple of times. Now they are not calling this customer engagement. Okay, they are not marketing their offering as everybody else is offering in the market. For example, let's say Salesforce actually were sort of the pioneer of this terminology: Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Customer Service Cloud. They probably have Field Service Cloud now. They have a bunch of industry clouds as well. Okay, but they all are done more from the industry perspective. Everybody, even the ERP companies sort of followed Salesforce's approach in terms of how they were branding their CX portfolio. So everybody, including your HubSpot, SAP, Oracle, they have a Sales Cloud offering, Marketing Cloud offering. Marketing Cloud is going to be slightly more the whole Pardots of the world, or your Eloqua, or your HubSpots of the world. The whole marketing automation is going to be unifying all of your channels. Sometimes you are also going to have the CMS baked in as part of your omni-channel integration. For example, let's say if you look at HubSpot, they are going to have their CMS that is sort of intertwined with their CRM offering. So it becomes very challenging to understand, okay, where do you draw the line between the CRM offerings, right? So here, in this particular case for Microsoft, what they have done is now they have taken a slightly different approach. And in my mind, their approach is very similar to SAP. Okay, the way they are taking this. Okay, so now Microsoft's bundles are called number one, sales. So sales is very similar to your CRM, but Microsoft Sales Cloud is not going to be comparable to, for example, let's say if you compare this with HubSpot. Okay, HubSpot is not going to have as much deep operational capabilities the way you are going to find with the likes of your Microsoft or your Salesforce. It's going to be very transactional in nature. It's going to be relevant for industries. If you go for industries such as your not-for-profit government, any service-centric industries, they are the ones who are going to have slightly more transactional workflows from the CRM perspective. So overarchingly speaking, I guess that the Microsoft Sales Cloud is still going to be very similar to your CRM offering. The CRM offering, when you look at any of the CRM integrated offering with the ERP as well, that is going to be fairly similar. They are, covering the similar workflows. The only difference between your CRM plus ERP offering is going to be that the data model is going to be connected. So your accounting is going to be integrated. Your operations is going to be integrated with your CRM workflows as well. So technically, that is not a real CRM offering. If you are trying to decouple your sales processes from everything else that you have in your architecture. So again, that's why Microsoft is taking very different approach in sort of decoupling the data sources, but they also have a little bit of integration from the data model perspective. They call it as more of the common data model. So they are able to provide both of these experiences. Number one, they have some of the decoupled apps. So any of the apps that are going to be part of their CRM portfolio are going to be slightly more decoupled, meaning you can install them independently if you like. You don't have to move along every single component that you have as part of your ERP processes. Generally, with ERP-centric CRMs, the CRMs that are going to be integrated with your ERP systems, the challenge that you run into is when you are implementing those CRMs, you have to implement everything else as well, because they sort of move together. With CRM systems, you can install CRM systems independently without changing any other underlying downstream processes. So with Microsoft, they are taking, again, slightly different approach. They have sort of the best of breed experience from any of the CRM apps, and we are going to touch on every single app that they have in their portfolio. But then they also have the ERP offerings. Overall, from the user perspective, when you look at all of these apps, they are going to look like as if you are buying a SaaS app. But with some of those apps, you are buying a real ERP. With some of those apps, you are buying slightly more best of breed experience. So now in the Microsoft portfolio, you are going to find buckets such as your sales. Now they don't have marketing. They are calling it as customer insights, which is kind of marketing, but it is not marketing. Okay, so it's not marketing automation. Okay, so what they have done with the customer insights is it's a real CDP product. And I don't know, guys, whether you are familiar with the CDP, and CDP is supposed to be the customer data platform. The whole intent of customer data platform is to bring all of these channels together, then sort of unify them using a specific criteria. And we are going to look at some of these screenshots in terms of how they do that. So that is going to be anything related to your website, POS, e-commerce. All of those channels are coming together, and you are trying to unify the data based on many, 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 many different rules to create the unified state of the customer. Now, this is the same pitch that you are going to hear from your CRM vendors or the marketing automation vendors. They are going to say that what, they are trying to create the customer 360, but the role of CDP is very, 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 very different. So here you are trying to, number one, connect the data, you are trying to augment this data, and you are really trying to create that customer 360, and based on that you can do a lot of segmentation campaign, etc. So now, technically speaking, you are going to feel that, isn't that what marketing automation is supposed to do? Yes. But then you would notice that, with the customer insights product, you are going to see scenarios where companies are also using HubSpot or Adobe, campaigns. And there is a reason for that, because marketing automation, is different, because that is what contains a lot of, different channels from the website integration perspective. Sometimes CMS is kind of baked as part of that as well. So I don't know where you draw the boundary, but in this particular case, the whole customer insights piece is very CDP. If you look at their workflows, it appears as if that is CDP. It's not the real marketing automation, but obviously they have a lot of workflows, baked, as part of the marketing automation as well. So technically, in my mind, that is going to be sort of the marketing cloud, but they are calling it as customer insights. And the reason why they are doing it is because it's really the CDP product. It's not necessarily marketing automation.
Hey, Sam, would you say that would fall more in line with like a business intelligence type of product than?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. So the business, obviously Microsoft has Power BI, which
Right.
is your business intelligence software. So Power BI is going to be used for that purpose, right? So the whole idea of business intelligence is going to be to simply visualize the underlying data. It might connect some of the data sources as well. Now you are going to think that, CDP is doing that, but CDP is doing a lot more than that. So it's not supposed to be just the dashboarding technology. The whole idea of your business intelligence is going to be dashboarding, but this one, the CDP does a lot more. CDP has many different rules built. No, you cannot do that with Power BI. I don't know how to explain that, I guess.
Yeah, I was just curious because with what you were saying, it kind of, leans towards some of those data points.
Yeah.
Because obviously it has to have the ability to connect, the various channels and the, other data sets within there. I was just curious if it, in your opinion, kind of fell more towards that like BI type, or if it fell more. It really sounds like it's its own little animal then.
Yeah, these are really the technical differences. And to be completely honest, architects sort of understand these things deep in, deep out, and they can understand the differences. Sometimes it's very hard to explain, even though functionally these might be very similar technologies. They might be doing similar things functionally, but overall there are differences. So again, I guess from the technical perspective, from the Power BI perspective, you're really using SQL, right? And you are sort of using SQL to be able to unify those databases. You have a little visual component using that. You are sort of layering that data. But the difference with customer, insights product or the CDP is that is sort of part of your transactional workflow, meaning you are unifying those data sets and you are sort of bringing that back to your CRM. Sometimes you are sort of doing campaigns. So it's part of the transaction versus just the study. That is going to be the part of your business. So that's where the real difference is.
Yeah. But that makes sense. That makes sense especially from a positioning standpoint, when you look at some of the functionality, some of the other functionality from, some of the other SaaS solutions.
Yeah. Great points. So, okay. So we have some comments from the audience, and we have one comment from Frederick, and Frederick is from Microsoft. So he's saying, just adding myself into the chat here. Thanks for joining, by the way. Worked with FNO for 15 plus years, with D365 CRM for a while. Also was a technology specialist for the Power Platform, the CRM platform for the last. Thank you so much for the background, Frederick. This helps a lot. Any clarifications needed on the integration technology and paradigm? Then I might be helpful to clarify some misconceptions. Maybe you can clarify whatever you are hearing. If you don't agree with that, please comment. We would love to review them. How Microsoft is trying to position. We would love to hear your commentary. So again, thank you so much for joining. And we have Lauren. Lauren has done a lot of work in the in the Microsoft space as well. So thank you so much once again for joining. Okay, so you are wrong about 365 not having a marketing app. They absolutely do. So maybe provide some more clarifications, which is that marketing app? Because the only thing, as of our understanding goes, the only marketing product that you have is the customer insights. Are you calling that marketing product? Is that the marketing automation product? Or in your mind, do you have another product? So please clarify that.
I was going to say the comment is saying that it does have a marketing module or component or whatever. That's great, but that's only a word. What does it do?
Yeah, and I think he has clarified that, Andy. So maybe we should read this comment.
Sure.
So he's saying that MS just renamed the marketing app customer insights journeys. The journeys part identifies the marketing app. And again, Lauren, we are not necessarily disagreeing with you, but what we are trying to say here is that, yes, journeys are there, but that is not one-to-one with the other marketing automation products that we have. And this is sort of the marketing positioning problem, and sometimes we all struggle with that. So let's say if you compare this with Adobe or HubSpot, I don't think that's going to be comparable to that. So this is, yes, you have journeys, but I don't know if you have everything that a marketing automation product is going to have. And we have seen a lot of scenarios where companies are really using the customer insights product with one more marketing automation product that is going to be either HubSpot or your Marketo. So they are using that. So there must be a reason why they are using that. It can't be just the confusion. Overall, the capabilities are greater in the marketing automation product. And in general, when you look at the CDP platforms, they also have very similar capabilities. And CDP category is very, 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 very different. So great commentary. We sort of agree with you that there is a lot of confusion around the names and the capabilities. But I really don't believe that customer insights product is completely one-to-one with any of the marketing automation products that we have in the market. Otherwise, why is Microsoft integrating with other Microsoft automation products? If you look at the connectors, Microsoft is trying to integrate with pretty much everything in the market, including your HubSpot and Adobe. Okay, so we have some more comments here. From an architecture standpoint, think of this in the context of pace layered architecture, ERP record, data-verse differentiation, Power Platform innovation. Great marketing pitch. I have no idea what that means, but thank you so much.
Sam, I was hoping that you'd be able to interpret what that means.
No, definitely
you're
not.
The genius here.
You are the genius, Andy.
No.
Okay, all right. It uses the same architecture for data accumulation as Power BI and uses it for visualization, but then adds automation and a layer of transaction on top. So yes, but again, based on the way these categories are, defined, the way companies are using it, the way the competitors are sort of defining, we'll probably stick to our definition in terms of the way we understand it. But this is great clarification. Thank you so much. Some more comments here. With the ODOP, One Dynamics, One Platform initiative at Microsoft, the whole current CRM app, sales service, field service, etc., are going to be merged with the DC365 FSCM, the ERP suite. Yes, you are absolutely right. And there are some industries where you require the ERP integration with the best of breed suite as well, but that is not going to be applicable with every single industry. So again, Microsoft is taking very, very, very different approach compared to every other CRM as well as ERP vendor. So we are agreeing with whatever you guys are trying to say. Then we have some more. D365 marketing was renamed to customer insights. Yes, you are right. And I don't know what was the driver of that renaming. For the most part, the way we are perceiving this product, in our mind, that is coming across as more of the CDP platform, which is your customer data platform, as opposed to marketing automation, because marketing automation has very different feature sets in general. And that could have been the driver why Microsoft, decided to rename this as customer insights. If you look at SAP positioning at this point of time, SAP has Immersys in their portfolio. SAP has Gigya, the whole identity sort of consolidation integration platform. They are taking very similar approach as well, but they don't necessarily have a marketing automation product, as part of their portfolio. Oracle takes a very different approach. They have a real marketing automation product. I don't know if they have a CDP in their portfolio. So everybody is taking very different approach to these things. And again, if you guys know the background in terms of the drivers for customer insights, why they ended up calling customer insights as opposed to sticking to marketing cloud, that's what everybody is calling, because I think Microsoft is trying to play more of the platform play where they want to work with everybody, including your marketing automation product. Otherwise, Microsoft is kind of trying to compete with them. So I don't know what were the drivers, but here in our mind, customer insights is very CDP centric platform, and that's where the real power is. From the Microsoft perspective, especially when you look at these AI algorithms, they are going to be far more important for the CDP platform as opposed to the marketing automation platform. Now he's saying it is marketing and CDM. So again, if you look at the marketing cloud product, for example, HubSpot is probably the leader, in the marketing automation space. Okay, and they combine your CMS product as well. Microsoft, as far as our understanding goes, Microsoft does not have a CMS, at least not as popular as any other vendors in the market. And you guys are not trying to, include the CMS offering as part of your marketing cloud. So again, marketing cloud could mean a lot of different things. Here, I think the intent is more of the, customer insights CDM sort of product or CDP product, I would say. You can create campaigns. Yes, you can create campaigns. I mean, you can create campaigns even inside ERP, but that does not mean that is going to be a marketing automation product. So there are always going to be differences in those things. Okay, it was not comparable 1 year ago, but today, no, I don't believe so. But thank you so much for clarification. You do not need those solutions anymore today as the feature gap is closed, but they are definitely being used, and Microsoft is providing integration with them as well. Base-layered architecture is a Gartner concept. Thank you so much for the comment. The CDP component just drops the journeys. The journeys app offers full journey mapping, CMS, landing pages, and so on. Our understanding is that Microsoft does not have its own CMS, so it is going to integrate with other, third-party CMS, and the embeddedness is not going to be as much as what you are going to find, let's say, if the CMS is going to be built as part of Marketing Cloud, right? So that's where I guess a lot of other marketing automation platform differs. So again, Microsoft is taking slightly more platform-centric approach, but again, it's a different product. Pretty much the main capabilities of an Adobe. Okay, some more comments here. The driver of the renaming might be that it is one product, marketing plus CDP, and not a bunch of things integrated together. So then why not follow just whatever industry is saying? Why not call this as marketing cloud? That's what everybody's calling. Just easier to understand. So why create something completely new? Is anybody else going to do that? And that's where my problem is, because now if you call this customer insights, then we are sort of, there is a little thin area there, right? Whether this is going to be more of the business intelligence product, is it going to be more of the data product? Where are you going to draw the line? I guess. I mean, that's our problem with this. But again, if we go by the category, let's say if we go by the marketing automation, that's what everybody's calling. They are calling marketing cloud. So why not call that? In our mind, I think the capabilities are different. That's why Microsoft chose to call it slightly different. Okay, so we'll go back to the slides. So here, overall positioning, if you look at, so this is going to be CDP with some marketing automation. Yes, there are some marketing automation capabilities. In fact, this is going to be combining all of different channels. With the marketing automation products, you might not be able to combine all of those channels just because the data sets are going to be different. So you might not have those capabilities, even if you're going to have a pure play marketing automation product. Here, you are also going to have CRM. You also have the customer service, the field service component, the contact center component that itself is very thick. So you have all of those capabilities that are generally included as part of the whole CX bucket, whether you are going to go for any sort of vendors, Oracle, SAP, Salesforce, all of them are going to have those capabilities. Background, I think these guys are agreeing with us. So here previously it was called Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement, and the names were far more relatable, I would say. During those days, it was sales, marketing, and that's what everybody is doing. So why are you doing something different? And that's what is our problem, because the product is different. That's why you are calling it, differently as well. So initially it was sales, marketing, very simple, customer service, and that was very, very, very simple to follow overall from the category perspective. If you look at the competing technologies, Salesforce is going to have very similar capabilities. I think they rely on some of the external CDPs. So Microsoft is going to have a real CDP. Salesforce sort of has that, but Salesforce also has a lot of other CDPs that are part of their platform. But in their case, they are going to have the Sales Cloud, the Marketing Cloud, the Customer Service Cloud, the Field Service Cloud, all of the capabilities that Microsoft has, and they are probably their closest competitor overall, from the CRM perspective, from the CX perspective. HubSpot is really good, from the upstream marketing perspective. They are not necessarily good at those transactional workflows. And when you look at those downstream marketing workflows, that's where your Microsoft or Salesforce is probably going to be really strong, especially in some industries, such as your not-for-profit, government, banking, insurance. All of those industries require very thick operational workflows that you need to enable as part of your customer experience layer. That's where your HubSpot is going to be really, really short, even though they are going to be really strong from the marketing automation perspective. Sugar CRM, is probably going to be in the mid-market. They are not necessarily the enterprise vendor, but they are going to have very similar, offering Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, etc. Zoho is also a very small vendor, I would say. They are in the SMB space. Their offering is very similar as well. They are probably not going to have the CDP product. CDP is a very enterprise concept. It's not necessarily as relevant in the small to medium size, business space. They are going to have very thick CRM, just like your Salesforce for your transactional workflows. Their marketing automation product is not going to be as rich as the likes of HubSpot. Then you have the real marketing automation category. So you are going to have the likes of ActiveCampaign. You are going to have Adobe. Adobe does not necessarily have a real CRM or CDP product. The only thing they have is the marketing automation, because they are trying to target designers. So whatever makes sense from the designer perspective, and they also have the e-commerce component. So they, in some cases, this needs to be tightly integrated with your e-commerce workflows. Then you have the field service component, and a lot of these companies are not necessarily going to have the field service component, which follows very, very, very different mindset, from the CRM perspective. In fact, the large majority of the CRM products that we have in the market, they are probably not going to work for the field services businesses, because your inventory needs to be very tightly correlated with your sales and operations workflows. And if you don't have that, you will struggle with it. So you have a lot of different, field service centric component. They also have very CRM centric capabilities. For example, let's say if you look at Service Titans of the world or Service Power of the world, they are not necessarily part of that CRM bucket, but they have very strong field service capabilities. And that's where Microsoft is really strong, because they can provide all of those capabilities from the field service perspective, whether you are looking at this more from the best of breed perspective, or whether you need to sort of embed all of these inventory, accounting, supply chain workflows as part of your customer experience workflows as well. So that's where the real distinction is. Again, depending upon the industry, which industry you are going to be part of, each of these solutions are going to make sense. They are not going to be good fit for every single industry. So again, each industry is going to have very, very, very unique and different CRM processes. And that's why you see the architecture that is just all over the place, across the solutions. Some of the other comparable, solutions we have: ServiceMax, ServiceNow, Service Fusion. They are all in the field service space. They are not necessarily the CRM play. They have a lot more operational capabilities. A lot of integrations that are going to matter more from the field service perspective. And then contact center. That's a world in itself. When you are looking at industries such as your insurance, some of the public sector industries, banking, these industries are going to have far thicker call center workflows, and there were systems that were designed exclusively for those workflows, but now everything is sort of coming together. So Microsoft has offering for the contact center as well. So overall, when you look at the solution, where Microsoft CX offering is going to make sense, or is going to be in these industries, that's where you are going to find the majority of their logos, which is going to be banking, insurance, media, professional services, government, not-for-profit, public sector, energy, oil and gas. And this is where, if you notice, even Oracle has a lot of presence in these spaces as well, because their CX portfolio is very similar to Microsoft's. Salesforce has very similar presence as well in these industries, because their offering is very comparable as well. Okay, I don't know which one was that comment, but thank you so much, Lauren, for that. Then we have one more comment. You need to get renewed e-stack demo. The orchestration in CDP is re-architected. So looking at the market and see that many have multiple solutions is true today, but not tomorrow. Interesting comment. Thank you so much. So I'm actually going to move to the next slide unless you guys have any other comments. So here, this is probably the view that I was talking about in combining many different data sources. So for example, you have Adobe, which is sort of listed as part of the data source. And this is coming from the screenshot from YouTube video, that you have Adobe, you have B365 customer service. So you have some of the Microsoft data sources, you have some of the non-Microsoft data sources. You are going to have e-commerce, which might be third party as well. You have loyalty, you have POS. So all of these data sources are coming together, and then you are sort of trying to unify that view, to be able to publish to many different platforms. So for the most part, the way this solution is positioned, it is more of the data aggregator and then publisher to many different solutions wherever you are going to need that data, for the operational processing. So here, this is another screenshot of unifying those data sources. So you'll be able to map, using very complex criteria, depending upon however you want to combine, whether by first name, last name, email address, or any other criteria that you might have. You are sort of trying to map that, match that, and merge that. And finally, you are trying to create the unified view of the customer. And technically speaking, you might see this as more of the master data management, but this is the customer data management. So I don't know where you are going to have overlap with MDM, but here you are sort of creating that unified view of the customer, but then you also have the marketing view. So again, very, very, very different take and very different product, I would say. Yeah.
Do you know if this, how is this data refreshed? Is it real time? Is it refreshed in intervals once that unify task is completed?
So if the purpose of this tool is going to be slightly more, transactional, if you're publishing this data to different data sources where they can use this unified data, then obviously it has to be real time. If it is going to be the batch or non-real time, then obviously that would become more of the business intelligence. The purpose of this tool is not necessarily to act as the business intelligence layer. This is supposed to be unifying the transactions and then targeting customers based on the unified data sets. So here also you are looking at sort of the customer 360. You are looking at whatever that customer has done, and then you are sort of computing the KPIs. And based on these KPIs, you are going to be building your segmentation as well as targeting strategy. So again, these are capabilities that you're going to find with the majority of the CDP platforms. Marketing automation platforms, yes, they are going to have some aggregation enrichment, but they are not as deep. Generally, it resides inside your CDP platform. Then you also have AI, which is obviously, that's where Microsoft is really, really good at. Smaller vendors, they are probably going to utilize Microsoft's technology, Microsoft's model to be able to enable their workflows. So here you are looking at different predictions that you are doing. So if any of your data sets that might not be complete, so you are trying to predict that based on your AI models. So this tool is going to have far deeper capabilities for that, and that's where their depth is. And again, this you are going to find with, if you go to Immersys, and again, I don't think SAP positions Immersys as more of the marketing automation products. They don't do that. That is a real CDP play. So Microsoft has very similar capabilities as the CDP. Then these are different connections. So if you look at different connections, and now you are going to find these connections with a lot of other platforms. For example, Dave, I don't know whether you remember this or not, Snowflake is going to have very similar connectors. SNOP platforms, they are probably going to have very similar connectors as well. So I don't know where you draw the line. But here you are bringing this data so that you can enrich your campaigns, you can enrich your data sets, and you can predict the numbers that you need to predict, to be able to do the campaign and targeting. So again, this is going to be more relevant from the marketing targeting perspective, but again, it's not necessarily marketing automation part. So And that's why you are engaging with, for example, let's say they are integrating with Active Campaign, because Active Campaign is used in conjunction with your customer insights product from Microsoft. If you look at Adobe Campaign, these are your real marketing automation, products. And that's why customers are trying to use those, because they are using this as more of the CDP, and they are using Active Campaign or Adobe Campaign as the marketing automation product.
Yeah, that's what I think is interesting about this with the, export connections versus the enrichment connections. Back to your point from earlier in terms of, unless this is, been completely refreshed, right? Like back to some of those comments that we were getting, right? This is it's kind of back to your point. This certainly would lead you to believe that, the journeys portion of that is not being either not been fully developed, or it's in process of being developed, and at some point this is going to change, because otherwise why take those segments and push them out to another tool, right? Versus owning that tool yourself.
Exactly. So we have some more comments here. So it is best gather the data and transactions, listen to signals, and trigger journeys. And again, trigger journeys where is going to be a question, right? Are you going to be doing that inside your marketing automation product, or are you going to be triggering the journeys right from this? You can do it both places, but depending upon how customers are using it, but they have definitely provided some sort of connections here. So these tools are going to be far deeper with the marketing automation capabilities than your customer insights product.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think back to their point, right? It'll be interesting to see as time goes on, just, in some quick white paper search on Microsoft. There's no doubt there is some sort of, functionality from a marketing automation standpoint with the Journeys product specifically. But I think the point you're trying to make is how deep is that compared to something like Active Campaign, let's say, that's, a market leader in marketing automation, right? In and of itself, just that simple product.
Yep, could not agree more. Okay, so we have some more journeys here, and this is the screenshot of different journeys. And now, when you look at these journeys, they are going to appear very similar. If you look at HubSpot can do this, Active Campaign can do this, but there are going to be limitations in terms of what you are able to do. So once you start mapping those journeys, then you are not going to find either specific triggers in terms of what you are trying to do, or you are not able to take any sort of actions that you are not able to do, depending upon your marketing goals. So that's where the real differentiation is going to be. But if you look at the surface level, these journeys are going to appear very similar, comparing different products. Now, Microsoft is providing a lot of journeys out of the box. For example, let's say if the contact is created or email is blocked, those could be some of the triggers or journeys that they have built out of the box. But for the most part, the number of CRM implementations that we have seen in general, you are going to have a lot of custom functionality. You are going to have a lot of custom objects. So how are you going to tailor all of those journeys as well? These could be great, but you still have to develop a lot more, on top of CRM platforms, because each industry is going to have very, very different workflows and unique workflows. Especially if you look at industries such as your not-for-profit, insurance, banking, all of those industries are very unique, from the capabilities perspective. So this is great that these journeys are built out of the box, but that is just company and contact, and that's it. You don't have anything after that. So you still have to build those. Now, one of the things that is very, very, very unique with this product, okay, that I don't think, we have seen these capabilities anywhere else, okay, that is going to be very strong functionality for the event management. And this is going to be the operational management of those events, okay. The only other marketing automation product that is going to be really deep into this is probably going to be Adobe. Marketing product that is very deep into this as well. But when you are going to get into the real scheduling scenarios, for example, let's say you are managing a venue, for example, a conference, you are going to have the real scheduling workflow, and that scheduling is going to be very different from your operational scheduling. This is more of the customer experience scheduling. So this is very, 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 very different. Because you are trying to coordinate with many different vendors, suppliers, etc., and you are really trying to manage these events. In this, one of the variables that you are going to have is your assets, which is going to be your buildings, rooms, layouts, etc. And this is a very different process in general. This resides inside your CRMs. And that's why if you look at even Salesforce, they don't necessarily have these capabilities. You either need to build these capabilities on top of CRM, or you are going to find an add-on, and generally those add-ons, they don't scale as well. So this is a huge gap, and this is going to be relevant for industries such as your public sector, media. Who else does events? That is going to be your insurance companies, banking companies. They are probably going to do that as well. But media, telecom, that is their bread and butter, to be completely honest. That's how they make the majority of their money. Sometimes because of that, they are using probably 2, 3, 4 different CRMs. So this is a huge plus. There is a real, capability from the event management perspective, as well as the operational scheduling. The hospitality is going to be another industry that is big into these, scheduling workflows. And by the way, this is not just the scheduling; it is also going to be reservation, check-ins, etc. And guys, this does not reside inside your ERP. This is your CX workflow. This has nothing to do with the ERP scheduling, maintaining scheduling there. So this is different. Now, we have some more very interesting concepts. For example, one of the challenges that most CRMs run into is, especially when you look at the whole lead workflow, is very different in other CRMs. The lead is generally not necessarily connected to your company. Okay, you are going to have a text, string that is going to be included as part of your lead. And when they convert into an account, that's when the contacts are probably going to be connected to your account. If you look at the way your Salesforce is designed, Zoho is designed, HubSpot is going to take slightly different approach, but the architecture is very similar. With Microsoft, the design is different of their data model, okay, because they are coming from very traditional background. So here you can associate a lead with your account as well. So, and that's why, sometimes it could be far more useful for industries where they are looking for these connected leads, and they are going to have the org structure as part of the whole lead workflow, especially if you're going to have very thick sales process where you're multiple, you are dealing with multiple contacts, you have multiple sales people that are going to be involved in your sales process as well. So for those scenarios and use cases, the whole org chart is going to be very relevant as well. Again, this is a very different data model, very different design, very different architecture. And each industry is going to be very different as well. This is going to be especially relevant for media-centric industries, professional services. That's where Microsoft does really well as well.
Is this functionality, the ability to assign leads to an account, is this for aftermarket sales?
So
once they're a customer?
So are you talking about this particular functionality?
Yeah.
So this
being assigned to an account. So an account usually is a customer.
Yeah.
So this is implying aftermarket sales opportunities.
So I just want to be a little careful there. So when you say aftermarket, are you talking about the automotive aftermarket? Because there, you would have very different process, right? Because there you have other vendors involved that are actually doing the aftermarket.
I'm just talking about after the customer is actually a customer.
Meaning they have done some financial transaction, right?
Right.
They sign the contract. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would be the real account.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But in this particular case, with Microsoft data model, you can associate lead with the account as well. That's where the real distinction is. Right. For example, let's say you go to Salesforce, you cannot do that because for them, lead has to be converted to your account as well as the opportunity. You cannot have lead with the account. You can have contact with the account, but you cannot have lead with the account. So Microsoft treats this very differently.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some comments, and I think you guys are going to have some comments as well. We are close to our time now, so we'll stop the presentation. Just some more comments here. So I think we have already covered this one. This is the old orchestrator, really big changes. Please tell us, okay, what those changes are. And we are simply going by the public information. So maybe you guys need to publish a lot more videos so that we can look at new videos. Salesforce has 2 different clouds. This is one solution, no integration needed. I don't know which one is that. I don't know what that comment is. And then out of the box integrated with dual write with ERP. Yes, different architecture, different design. Nobody understands why there are both lead and contact entities. The lead entity makes no sense in the way it is implemented in D365. My understanding of Microsoft lead is the opportunity itself, as opposed to, but Microsoft has very convoluted architecture, overall from the object model perspective. So I think you are agreeing with that. Thank you so much. Uh, okay, Dave, comments?
Yeah, interesting layers of functionality. I think what's challenging, a couple things that are obviously challenging with this and or anything that we review is, again, understanding where it fits into the architecture of what you're trying to do, right? Because we're all trying to do something, unique, right? We're all our own special snowflakes. But, I think some of the comments were.
Have you said that to your child, Dave? Come on. That's so sweet.
I know. But I think some of the comments were kind of poignant from the standpoint of, when people are out there taking a look for these different types of solutions, they're doing the same things that we are, right? They're searching out, they're looking for, screenshots and descriptions and, ways to understand this functionality. So, again, people that do this every single day, either disagree or struggle or, kind of use terminology interchangeably. All that to say, that's why this stuff is so hard. That's why adoption and implementation rates are what they are, right? So again, it goes without saying, but the functionality in this, really cool for some very specific use cases. Maybe you can make the argument that based on that ability to connect those different data layers, that you could gain some sort of efficiency or insights with that. But again, what are you going to do with the stuff, right? That's what it really always comes down to. But I really did enjoy some of this functionality. It's different than what I was expecting for this solution. So that was kind of cool to see. Yeah.
Amazing. Andy, comments?
Yeah, just leveraging what Dave was just talking about. And I do appreciate that, there's people that are giving us insights that obviously know this product better than we do. But what we're observing is the same thing that their prospects will observe. Because we're just learning from doing screenshots, watching videos, 30,000 foot stuff. So maybe what we're offering or suggesting or observing, I'm not saying that three of us are the top three experts in the world, but we're all kind of sort of experienced. If the three of us see it this way, maybe the vendors should start to make sure their message is a little bit clearer. But on that line, and I know you want to make a comment there, Sam, and thank you, but I love that the point about the event management. That was very impressive. Yeah. And not only that it's impressive, you could call that as part of the marketing module, right? They say that they have a marketing module. Well, that could be part of it.
And
anyways, over to you, Sam.
And they don't even have, like, when you look at customer insights, it doesn't even speak about that functionality, which is very critical. So or
at least of the screens that we've seen, it doesn't, right? So again, this is a good litmus test to recognize what prospects are going to assume as well. Assume or misassume.
So great comments, guys. Going to quickly touch on this comment and then going to wrap. So here, Frederick is saying lead is a pre-opportunity, little info. Anybody can edit. Lead becomes an opportunity when qualified, then quoted and ordered. And that's what Salesforce is going to say. But if you look at the data model, Microsoft is a very different data model because you can associate your lead to your account as well. That you cannot do with Salesforce. So there are, differences. Yes, functionally, what you are trying to accomplish, that's what you are describing from the sales process perspective. But from the data model perspective, Microsoft has a very different data model. So again, in some industries, you are actually going to require that. So pay attention to that. On that note, guys, that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in today.
And don't forget that, the feedback we got today was amazing. So please tell us more because we're just the messengers here.
Exactly. Could not agree more. Thank you so much once again, Andy, Dave.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.